Hey folks, and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to talk about the update to the asset strength histogram. It's going to run through some of the primary changes and my motivation for updating the software, as I think the new modifications to it will be very beneficial for all users, no matter how you're using the software. So as you can notice now, you can see it looks a little bit different than it did before. And we have the addition of this white dotted line both above and below the zero line. And in some situations, the zero line will actually change color. So if we just change this to, let's say, the 5-minute chart, notice that the zero line turned red. And this is because we have entered the beginning of a sell zone. And when I say a sell zone, I mean we're reaching the side of the market where the price of the asset we're looking at is likely reaching a spot where we're going to have a bit of a breather. Okay, and so now we have this line here, which is a spot where we begin to see a weaning in the strength of a price, and then we have the signal line here. Okay, and so instead of the alarms going off only when we get above or below the bullish and bearish signal lines, now the alarms are going to go off at areas where we are just entering that zone. And you can see the zone starts here and it goes above. The extreme end of the zone is above the sell signal line just here. And you can see, I mean, the histogram didn't get up to the signal line here, but it still turned around. And so I think it's more beneficial for all users that we are informed when we are entering a buy or sell zone, and then we can add a bit of discretion, do a bit of an analysis, and then find out if we want to take that trade or not. Okay, and the fact that this has turned to red from white is telling us also that we have a bearish bias currently, and this is simply because we have entered the sell zone. Okay, if it turns green, well, then we've entered the buy zone and we can expect price to move higher from there. And if you notice here, I mean, price moved up here, we're starting to turn red. What is this telling us? It's telling us that maybe you want to get out of the trade, or at least begin to take some of the profits off the table, because we are probably going to start to see some kind of retracement lower at some stage in the not so distant future. But due to the fact that we have no supply here, I can with confidence hold this trade until we get up to around this area here before I get off this trade. But you can see that the presence of these colors and these lines lends to our ability to make trade management decisions. Okay, so let's look at another example. Okay, so now we're looking at the British pound Canadian dollar, and this is the 4-hour chart. And notice that we started to enter this sell zone already here. And notice as well, we have a really clear story being told where we have price going higher. And for those of you who enjoy trading divergence, well, this is going to make a lot of sense to you. You can see that we have price driving higher. We're making these higher highs over and over again. We had 4 runs. But the strength of these two currencies relative to one another is not supporting this. Okay, so we're entering the beginning of the buy zone, so the sell zone, which is here, essentially. And we've poked into that little window of opportunity. Okay, and so we're being told that, okay, maybe if you're in a trade, you might want to get out of the trade, or if you're looking to short, based on your analysis of the higher time frames, well, maybe this would be a good idea to start to look for demand that's being consumed by opposing supply and trade that supply in anticipation that the cycle will change from a positive reading to a negative reading, positive reading to a negative reading. Okay, and notice again down here when we entered the window, the buy window here, and we started to push lower, and finally price started to pull back. We had the sell window, which was just here. Okay, we had prices running higher, but the strength at which we were running to these highs is not really the same picture that we're seeing in the histogram here. So this is telling us also that this is maybe more liquidity exploration than it is a breakout and price is going to run higher. Okay, and so this stuff is going to be brought to our attention pretty early on. We have the same thing occurring here, where we have the top of the zone here. Here we have the sell zone. Price ran up. What happened? Price ran down. We have this like so. Okay, there's also a change to the alarms. So if we have a look at the parameters, I'll just click that up here. You can see the list looks pretty similar to what we're used to. Where we have our the product key, the software keys. We have the algo execution interval. We have the fast and the slow strength lookbacks. We have our mean data, and we have the alarms. And the alarms is what has changed in this particular build. We have something here called enable confirmation. So what does that mean? Well, per default, the confirmation is going to, if set to true, enable us when we see a decrease in the strength of the histogram. So we're going to wait for the histogram to start to paint values less than previous values, just to show us down that we are starting to see price slow down. Because if we were looking at this and we entered just here, I mean, look how far price went before it finally turned around. With the new alarm system, with the confirmation, it's going to wait until price starts to paint negative values relative to the previous value before we start to sound the alarm. Okay, and it's looking at the most recent reading, and it's going to compare this to the previous reading. Okay, and so this is a very useful way for us to see a slowdown in momentum, but because it's bleeding edge, we're seeing this as soon as this weaning in momentum is beginning to take place. And then we have the enable trend, and the enable trend is simply going to alert us to particular alerts when we have alignment in the mean. Okay, and if you have push notifications configured in your platform, which you can do, if you don't know how to do that, search Google and it'll tell you. It's a very simple process. Then you can set that true, and the alarms that your terminal are giving you will be sent to your mobile telephone, to your MT4 installation on your Android or iOS device. Okay, and so otherwise the usage of the software is the same, and I'm just going to allow this alarm to go off. I want confirmation, but I don't want to allow the trend, and I'm going to say enable these, and I'm going to scan everything from the daily. We'll stop at the hourly. I'll just let that run. So we'll give that a few seconds to run. So it's run, and we have a bunch of different things that we can look at. So let's start looking at these one by one and see if we can find something that looks maybe a little interesting. So we have the platinum American dollar on the 1 hour chart. So if I drag that over here, go to the 1 hour chart, it's telling us that we are seeing distribution occur on this time frame. So we'll wait for that to load. Okay, and you can see here that we have a red zero line. What does that mean? That means that we're starting to reach an area where we'll probably very likely begin to move south. Okay, and we have a decrease in the histogram, so price is starting to slow down. So what we'd do in a situation like this is we'd mark off the high and we'd see where we are relative to the bigger supply. Where are we? Where are we located? We can't see anything there, so let's zoom out a little. We still can't find anything. Let's go to the weekly. You want to see if we are located at a place where we could look to short, and we are. You can see very clearly that we have. If we zoom out one more time, don't have any more data, that's the extent of it. So if you look at this, you can see price came down, we had support, became resistance, we formed this little area of supply that managed to result in price trading below these lows. We came down, we tested it, and now we came back. So now we're at this level for the first time. We're also reaching a bearish, we've also received a bearish signal as price on the weekly time frame has pierced the sell signal line just here. Okay, but we're not painting these negative histograms just yet. So what you could do is you could just wait, and you could come back to this, have a look at it once a day, and see if something turns up, and see if we start to see a pattern occur on the smaller time frame. Okay, so now we'll go to a different one. This is the Kiwi American dollar. Kiwi American dollar. And this is distribution, and this is on the hourly chart. Yeah, I'm in this trade already. So what's going on? We'll let this load, give it a couple of seconds to paint the lines. There we are. You can see here that the zero line is red, meaning that it's time to sell. What happened? Price came down. off these highs. So let's mark off this area. And we're also looking for the confirmation. So the confirmation would have come. So this candle here, the red candle right here, to the left of this vertical line, would have told us that it's time to sell. So what would you do? You would do something like this. Just mark off an area where you have a spot that where price might return to. You'll stop above, and this is where price came up to, and then we went down here. But the asset strength version algo took me in at somewhere, I think on this candle here, one that went up. We poked into whatever reading it was looking for, and then it started to come down. So this is interesting, and you can see now we're starting to go down, and we're poking into this area just here. And so we can, we'll have to wait and see. But for the time being, this is telling us that we should sell. We are in the sell zone, and price reacted nicely at that spot. Let's have a look at the Kiwi Swiss franc. This is a 4-hour reading. Here we are. So go there and go to the 4-hour chart. All right, so we are bearish. You can see we have the red zero line. That means we have a bearish bias for this pair. But notice how price went up. We entered this area at around here, but it kept going up. We kept painting bullish, ever increasing histograms. But notice that here now that we got in right there on this candle here. So at some point during the open, between the open and the close of this red candle here, we would have got into the trade. And ever since then, price we retraced, we went back up to the area, and now we're starting to break lower. Okay, here we are. We have a green zero line. That means it's time to look to buy. And we got that signal. Where are we? Maybe on this one here. This one looks a little bit low, or about equal, or at least on this one here, on this candle just here. Okay, and then price. So maybe you've got the signal on the close of this candle, which was here. Price accumulated for 2 periods, and then it moved north. Okay, and so here we are looking for, or expecting price to move a little bit higher and out of this buy zone and move to the opposing side of the market until the cycle is complete. Okay, so we had a cycle here as well where price was negative. We went a little bit positive, went positive, went a little bit negative, negative, positive, positive, negative. And if we just do that, I can't do it in this one. I can't see what's behind, but we have the positive about here to the negative, which is here, negative to the positive, positive to the negative. So just look how powerful that is. They line up beautifully. We got the negative just here, we got the positive just here, and the negative is just here. So what do we expect now? We expect something like this to happen. Okay, good. Well, I think I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to introduce the new updates and show you how powerful this new modification is, but it's already been distributed. It's in the download package from the Pipnotic website, so just log on to your account at pipnotic.com and grab the zip file, and then you should be good to go. And if you have any questions, as always, post them in the comments below or in the Discord channel. Thanks for watching.